I once knew a guy who had his way with a microwave pickle.
Which kind of way? The pickle's kind of at his disposal, given that the microwave is basically a weapon if need be.
All I'll say is he really put the cum in cucumber.
That is a rough way to do that. Adding felony charges on what was already egregious.
On this episode of DC On Screen, we have updates on the numbers for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, a release window for Creature Commandos, Gunn debunking recent rumors for characters appearing in the Batman Part 2, plus David Ayer says he's done with DC. Christopher Nolan thinks all modern superhero films are inspired by Zack Snyder, and so much more, right after these words from our mystery sponsors.
While they're playing, I'll just be proud of you for not using a cup joke, because you could have done that too.
I could. Welcome into DC On Screen, the podcast that's been bringing you news and reviews of the DC multiverse on film and television since way on back in 2015. I'm your host, David C. Robertson. This is my shaky but sturdy compadre, Jason Goss.
We're still standing, bro.
Still standing. Still, knobbly kneed, but we're here.
Yeah.
We're here. I haven't talked to you in forever, man.
No, it's been
happy Christmas and New Year and all that shit.
Uh-huh. Thank you.
I have talked to you very recently, but we stay in constant contact. But
yeah.
on the show.
No, on the show I've been absent. The flu season caught my entire household. I've basically been contagious since Aquaman came out.
Uh-huh. Did you ever get a chance to see that?
Nope. Still haven't.
Wow.
Still have not. Not happy about that.
There's a case to be made, though, that, they couldn't even get a host of DC On Screen to to watch their freaking movie.
Yeah, and, part of that was because I had obligations that were put off by being sick for, 2 fucking weeks. But, I didn't exactly, call into work or something. I'd call into work for so many other things, too.
Yeah. Well, I hate that you've been sick, man.
I hate to be just one more day. You've been out for 4 days. Yeah, just this Friday. You sound great, Jason. Yeah, but it's just the rebound effect. I'll probably be terrible tomorrow. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, we got a ton of news, so I guess we should get into that.
Shoot.
And man, we're gonna start off with a bummer. I'm sorry, but I don't like to end on one. Andre Braugher died.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was 61. He died on December 12th, it looks like. And people know him as Frank Pimpleton on Homicide. He was Captain Raymond Holt on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is where I fell in love with him. And but he was Darkseid in Superman Batman Apocalypse. And I do recall he did a fantastic job.
I didn't see it, but I believe it. Great voice for that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And so I was sad about that. I was legitimately sad about that I still am, but
yeah,
I was actively bummed out for a few days.
Yeah. People you genuinely wish you could have seen what the rest they had in store.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like you're Googling, what did he have in store?
No, I'm not.
It was weird timing for that.
Edit point. I just realized that Aquaman has changed grosses since I prepped the show.
Oh, yeah. No, that is true. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna head on over and talk about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom a little bit. The box office updates.
Waited 4 weeks to pull that pun out of my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Totally worth it. Couldn't have come up with that in any shorter time frame.
Was that worth it?
I'll see myself out.
That's what you've been doing.
Yeah.
I can call Effie real quick.
She's asleep. Leave her alone.
At the moment. All right, so...
It would be a funny podcast. Just wake one of us up in the middle of the night. That'd be fun. Actually, no, we wanted to do that at some point. A 4:30 in the morning, we just woke up podcast. Just to see how terrible it sounds for us to try to think at 4:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm. It'd just be a lot of silence and us saying.
It would... Yeah, it'd be a lot of trying to block out the memories of dreams and wishing I could still drink coffee.
So Aquaman domestic gross as of this date, which is Tuesday, January 9th, according to Box Office Mojo, 100,775,607 domestically. Now, worldwide, though, 337,275,607. And it's not doing great, admittedly, but it did beat the Marvels. And apparently it's beaten the Flash. So,
honestly, as new benchmarks go, 337, a few weeks in.
Yeah.
Not even mad at that. That should be a more realistic, figure than people have been thinking about before.
Yeah. It's 18 days.
It wasn't going to be 2 billion or something.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's done better than I thought it would.
I agree. I mean, numbers wise, I don't know about like opening weekend versus everything else. I actually tried to avoid that because I couldn't watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And the opening numbers would have given me like some sense of a spoiler that I didn't want to dive into right then. But like,
I mean, that's the thing about this movie. There are no spoilers.
I know.
It's just, there's nothing like.
You told me that it's just basically a very straightforward movie, which is probably going to affect sales in some way. But
yeah,
Aquaman is kind of, and just numbers wise, I think I could prove it. I think it's doing at 337 kind of as well, given the new climate as you would have expected for Aquaman 1.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing topped out over $1 billion, I know, but it wasn't, 1.8 billion. It was, right over $1 billion, I think. Maybe 1.2 tops. So, and that was even extraordinary, but just a very different climate.
It was at a very, very different climate, but weirdly, it was after the box office failure, like the utter total failure of Justice League.
Well, yeah, but that was also, I mean, can't you use that as an excuse to say that like that's even driving the figures more?
Yeah, I mean, it was just it's DC movies and the way that they've, what hits and what doesn't just confuses the shit out of me.
I know. I mean, I just think it was a matter of people liking that character, that actor, and it being a very pretty film. I'm not even kidding about the pretty film part driving ticket sales because, oh my God, if give me some mushrooms and pot and watch Aquaman, it's probably going to be great.
Yeah, and I don't think honestly, I don't think you will dislike Aquaman 2. I don't. I think, I walked out of that going, Jason will love this.
No,
Jason
yeah.
will think this is a great film.
You said that. I fully expect to enjoy it.
And I will tell you a little bit more. You're going to walk out of that movie wanting your own topo.
I'm happy to believe that from just the clip. And what was that? The Japanese trailer? Did it ever make it into the American trailer?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. The one segment, the one moment I saw, I was like, it's going to be fun.
Yeah. They have like a small bit where it's like, I don't know, like Atlanta tells like Aquaman, like, oh, you got to take topo. And he's like, the cephalopod? Yeah. And then like later on when he grabs Orm, he's like, yeah, I brought topo. And Orm goes, the cephalopod?
This is actually way funnier when I'm imagining their like deep, serious, gruff voices. So yeah, I'm digging that idea.
Yeah, and he was a fun little character.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I will give you this, having not seen it, and that I like hearing that is like that was one of those character choices though in the trailers where you're like, that's going to be either really fun or really shite.
Yeah.
And I don't know yet.
He may have been the best part for me.
Okay.
But
I'm glad I'm enjoying that.
As a pet guy, I think you're going to be very pleased with him.
I mean,
I think you'll like the whole thing for real.
8-legged sea dog. That sounds fantastic.
James Gunn, a name that I will be saying a whole lot in this episode, has confirmed a release window for Creature Commandos and said it will be later 2024 when asked. So there's that. Batman Part 2, Barry Keoghan said that he can't really say anything about playing Joker, but it would be exciting, wouldn't it, to see the Joker come to life again? And he said it very coyly, like, something's going on. They just did some sort of award show or something, and he was hanging out with Joaquin Phoenix, and the internet blew up for a minute. But
It's like the one franchise I wouldn't mind combining just for fun, but you really just don't have to. That can stay separate.
Mm-hmm.
They're both good in very different ways.
Yep. James Gunn was asked if he's read any drafts or heard any of the developments on Batman Part 2. And Gunn says, I heard a pitch, no script yet. But he did, and look, there's this guy, Daniel RPK, I think his name is, and he's a scooper. And I keep telling you guys, of course, I know everyone who listens to this show is too smart to fall for this shit. Don't listen to the scoopers, because he's been talking about, there's Professor Pig, there's Scarecrow, there's all these people. So Gunn responded to recent rumors about Professor Pig, Scarecrow, Clayface, Hush, Dick Grayson, all expected to be in Batman Part 2. Gunn says, totally made up.
That's it. I'm glad he puts those things in there because, often after we record and it's a final product, I don't go listen to the final product of our show. So I am not smart enough to avoid this kind of bullshit. So thank you, James, for keeping it straight when I go back and record the next episode so Dave can tell me about it.
Yeah.
And say, no, don't freak out.
So someone said, is this info about the Waller show true? And the info in question is Waller will comprise of 13 episodes. Most of the scripts have been written and they have started casting. Phil Abraham is set to direct the first 2 episodes. Freddie Stroma will reprise his role as Vigilante. Sean Gunn will play Maxwell Lord in the series. John Douglas Thompson and Ivana Sakno have been cast in supporting roles. The season will be split into 2. The first half will premiere sometime in the spring of 2025, while the second half will premiere in the fall. Gunn says, not at all. No. Sorry. So none of that shit I just said was true.
It all sounds like it could be. That's the fun part about Scoopers is like, yeah, man, it all sounds plausible.
They just make up a bunch of shit. That's all it is.
Hell, was it like 5 years ago or whatever? We used to do a little running bit where we would just make up a story and see if it made sense. It mostly made sense.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not saying that
but like,
all of it's trash. I'm just saying that, like, they, even on their best day, a scooper is going to be 100% right, but the information they're getting could be outdated. The information, could have been, well, this is what I'm hearing. Thank you, nameless source. Yeah. And then this is a real source, but that source doesn't have access to all the new shit. So they don't know what's changed. And I think a lot of times, like, they are just, like, making up bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, there really is a genuine difference between, I don't know, like, what we do when me and you talk on this thing where we record a little bit is, like, in some ways just regurgitation of what's happening. It's just like a discussion about what's happening. Then there's actual journalism where you kind of wait and corroborate sources and really check what's going on. And then there's another area where, it's kind of honest, but you're taking your best bet and you may be wrong sometimes. Like TMZ, I hate them for a lot of reasons, but they're in that category. Where, like, it's a lot of the time mostly right, or there's at least a real seed of truth. It's not Weekly World News or some bullshit. But then there's those other fuckers. When you talk about scoopers, typically, hope I've laid that out for you. If anyone didn't understand our differentiations here. Those fuckers.
Yeah. Look, all I'm saying is life is very short. And from day to day, we have only so much energy. It is not worth getting upset or happy.
Just so you can be upset later.
Don't waste your energy getting upset or happy about anything a scooper says.
Yeah. It really is a genuine waste of, like, your time, energy, and even down to the spiritual level. Just fuck all that. That's our PSA for today.
I don't know.
Exhausted
I'm not sure
Dave to be that, like, optimistic in a way. I think you could hear it just at the end.
Yeah.
Or a little bit of his soul either left or returned. I can't tell.
Yeah. My soul is slowly being chipped away. That's why I try not to get on Twitter anymore.
Yeah.
So on to Superman Legacy news. Gunn revealed that in the Superman Legacy office, he's got that. It's the same sign that Richard Donner had when he was making Superman the movie. It's it's a drawing of Superman flying, and it says verisimilitude, which if you don't know, it means the appearance of being true or real. Now,
my understanding of that word is it means that it is probably true rather than like the practical effects or the magic version where it's like appearing to be. But
yeah,
I don't know if that's right. That's just how I've been using the word. So let me know if I'm wrong.
Right. Well, I mean, I just told you what the actual definition is. So,
well, true.
He has debunked some more stuff for Superman Legacy. Someone asked, is it true that Viola Davis will return as Waller in Legacy? Gunn says, no. If that's a rumor out there, it's false, as usual.
He just makes things so easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's really refreshing.
So he was talking to someone on Threads, and or he was talking to everyone on Threads, and someone asked, hey, James, when you're finished writing Superman Legacy, will we get a trailer for Superman Legacy this year? And he says, we don't begin filming until March. Writing is basically done and has been for a while, other than a comma here, a comma there. So no, looks like we won't be getting a trailer yet.
I mean, yeah.
But he did say that March 2024 is correct in the filming. So there's that.
That's going to be like when I have to start ignoring certain things.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. He says pre-production is going swimmingly. Sets being built, costumes being finished, actors studying roles, prosthetics and VFX models being made. Flights booked. That's exciting. Have you noticed that he hasn't, like, and if he has, and I missed it somehow, and that's very possible. Have you noticed he has been very cagey about who is doing the music for Superman Legacy? We know that he is a composer because he said a while back that he was talking to the composer today, whatever that day was. It was a while back, a few weeks ago.
No, I haven't paid enough attention to see it be cagey per se, but like, no, I haven't seen the actual announcement either. Now that you mention it,
there is no announcement. But in a recent interview with the Sunday Times, John Williams confirmed he is willing to compose again if it's the right project.
I did see that. I didn't put that together.
He said if a film came along that I was greatly interested in with a schedule that I could cope with and I wouldn't want to rule out anything out. Dude's 91.
No, I hadn't thought about it. But you're right. That's a real like borderline conspiracy version of an interpretation of events. But yes,
yeah,
that
absolutely.
is possible.
But like, I want to say I've seen this conspiracy going about.
Oh, it's got to be all over the place. Like,
and I don't hate it. Like, I mean, I kind of do hate it, but also
I don't hate it because John Williams makes beautiful versions of the same thing over and over again. And don't get me wrong, I'm a person who loves blues music and defends Stevie Ray Vaughan every time they say One Trick Pony. I'm like, it's a fucking great trick. Fuck you.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That's one of those creative things where, like, dude, if you can do something so well, so often, so differently, even in that same spot, you're maybe even more of a genius than the others.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't necessarily want it to be like continued in this genre with him 91 years old or in this new reboot.
Right. And that's my primary issue.
You're going to have eventually the comparisons. Well, it wasn't like John's.
My primary concern is that, great directors fall at the feet of Superman. They get so wrapped up in their bullshit nostalgia. And Gunn is starting to show the signs.
In some ways, I get it. I mean, I still got to finish the Superman versus Hollywood thing. But there's a huge part of the themes of that little history book is what it really is. What you're saying tracks, but I don't know, man. I mostly just wouldn't think it was a good choice for what he has to do, and I don't know. I don't know if he's actually falling into the trap necessarily, or if he's just going for some nostalgia. If he actually did that, but right now, I'm not going to jump to conclusions about whether that's a thing that's really happening.
Yeah. I don't want to see Bryan Singer again. I don't want to see more. I don't want to see Donner again. Like we have let's roughly say a movie and a half of Donner.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone just keeps jacking off over that dead horse. Just move on. That's my primary concern.
I know.
I like Superman the movie. I like Superman 2.
The worst thing about what you're suggesting that there's a nostalgia black hole is that it will be every generation that just falls back into the hole. Mm-hmm. And as much as we all love that character, and maybe there's something just so primal and about how it affects you as like a 3-year-old just interpreting and remembering parts of the world that, I mean, 2 probably or whatever, but like that age where you're starting to see like, oh my God, Superman, and he can do all these things. And like, I don't know, maybe there's something just that, significant about that you just can't get it out of your head when you're a adult, in your 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever these adults have been that are directing these films that just can't step away from that moment. It's possible, but
now what would be cool, because the movie is called Superman Legacy, is if Gunn hired multiple composers, and had them do like updated takes of their classic stuff, and then like had a composer like integrate all of that. Like if you had, Shirley from Superman the Animated Series, and you had John Williams, and you had friggin' Hans Zimmer, and all these people, like, and you had like different, just like little cues, even from the old shit, from like the Fleischer shit, and Adventures of Superman and all that, just really like having elements of all of the great Superman scores combined into one like kick-ass modern score. Like that would be interesting.
It would. It is. It's hard to do.
I'm sure.
I've even just played around with it and like, damn, it's weird.
Well, but then again, you have like the dude who does like the meets metal shit, who does it seemingly effortlessly.
I know. I mean, that's at least one song though. You don't have to deal with the key, tempo, the whole thing, or pacing even. Like it gets weird, but it can absolutely be done. I mean, it's not. I mean,
I think I'd want
there'd be nods. There'd be nods to everything. Like especially if I had an hour and a half, 2 hours to tell the story, there could be nods to anything you want.
Yeah, I think I would prefer like an original score, but with just like small cues here and there that's like reminiscent of those old scores.
Yeah.
Anyway, Gunn blasted cameo porn in recent superhero films. Says the whole point is it's not a large film. I mean, not in terms of cast. Superman Legacy, that is. It's normal for single protagonist films to have other characters, much more unusual for them not to. And then someone responded, finally someone who treats characters more than just having character appear on screen for 10 seconds to mark a checkbox. And Gunn says, I call that cameo porn, and it has been one of the worst elements of recent superhero films. If a character is in a film, they have to have a reason to be there story-wise. They don't, James, but I get it. I know where you're coming from, and I dig it.
I do like... I agree, but it kind of disagrees with your point that he may be falling into the Superman hole. So we may need to put that in the pros column for now and see how that goes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I am not in any way decided.
Oh, I know.
On where I fall on this. I am just concerned, and I was going to be concerned either way. But
no, I see the trajectory. It's a fine point. It could be a thing.
There is a rumor out there, an insidious rumor, that Grace Randolph is playing Cat Grant in Superman Legacy.
Insidious is a good word.
And they asked James if it's true. James says, I'll just say it's my favorite rumor by a country mile. You can take that either way. If I see her, I'm going to be mad, though. Like, how dare you give her any kind of status, James?
Dude, if... I've seen some of the interactions, because I'm pretty sure there have been a couple where he just shut her down hard.
Oh, definitely.
If she's there, it will be as a scooper, like, make fun of yourself kind of role.
Yeah, but I still I don't even want her acknowledged on that level.
I do agree with that. I
don't even want her in a Superman movie.
I could just stand to not really ever think about her again, frankly.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, he did confirm no Superman art I ever post is ever a hint at the costume. I just like art.
Fair enough.
Cool, man. Cool. And that's common sense. But every time you post anything, oh my God, he's going to have the trunks.
There's no such thing as a loaded or a not loaded, message if you're him at this point.
Yeah. I am befuddled by how much people are worried about those son of a bitchin' trunks.
I know. I think people just think it's a fun thing to talk about. And I do get it, because the baseline of this is that, why? It's not a functional piece of clothing. So there's a lot to talk about. Mm-hmm. I just don't think it's that deep for me.
Yeah. I mean,
really, I think it was Gail Simone that, all right, so Power Girl, pretty famously or infamously, has like like a giant hole with a boob shot.
Right. And the boob window.
Yeah. And Gail Simone basically said, wrote into Power Girl responding to somebody about like, yeah, you just have your cleavage on display. It was like, yeah, but if you're flying around, have you ever tried that? Because it's great. That was a really funny in-canon explanation for something that looks like a costume design thing that you could have done differently,
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had that moment with Superman's red trunks where someone explained him in a way where I thought, nope, that's it. We're good here. I can use this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I also don't care enough about, I'm just not that pissed about it.
Here's what I like about the trunks.
It breaks the color. I think that's the thing you've told me before that you really like.
It does break the color.
And I get that.
But
same time it breaks the blue, so I could go either way on that.
Yeah. The thing is, like, you have like the tight suit. I feel like Clark Kent is so modest and in a way conservative that he just feels more comfortable having on a pair of something over those tights,
Yeah, like, but then there's the question, like, well, does he not have underwear actually on? Because he could.
It doesn't matter either way. It doesn't matter either way, because if he does, it still doesn't look like he does, and
he would not be comfortable so you're saying just the third person modesty, not just like him feeling like there needs to be something that shape around the crotch area, because that's okay.
I think it would just make him more comfortable.
Maybe just that he thought it would be an extra layer on his bulge, and I'm just looking at the like Action Comics 1000 wall I fucking have, and like I think I've pointed this out to you before. Not even that long ago that like, you told me about that. And there are like sags and bulges in some of the drawings, but not others. Some have done it differently. So in some of the ones there where, it does that is like, that might be a costume thing that's, he just feels better.
Yeah.
Just the boys aren't just as exposed.
Yeah. And I would point it out in the movie. I would probably give him the trunks and then have it be a conversation in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, why the trunks? They look stupid. Like, kids look up to me, man. I don't want people seeing my junk,
Yep. Or like, just say like, I'm not wearing a cup that covers the tiny bulges. It's just going to be skin tight suit over my dick and balls. So like, I'd like to not put that in some little kid's face. Thank you very much.
That's right. Someone asked, you mentioned movies like The Batman and Joker are separate from DCU. How much are you involved in these movies? Do you know what their stories are, or did you read the scripts? Gunn says, Todd had Joker in full swing by the time we came aboard. I've watched and given notes, but it is mostly with WB where it started. Everything moving forward in live action we're involved with. So that's pretty straightforward, man. Like, if it came before, the rest of his story. Yeah, if it came before, man, we too busy to dealing with all this other shit that y'all been doing.
Well, even the not too busy part. I mean, every movie I've seen, it hits with his thing about the notes. Like he always says, like, hey man, they asked me about it, and it basically sounds like they ran it by him. He sent an email and said, here's my suggestions, and here's what you absolutely can't do because it'll interfere with what we're doing.
Yep. And apparently the Elseworlds branding won't appear on Joker too. Like he says, that branding will not debut until the films we've worked on.
That does leave it in a weird gray space.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think it does.
If you will. As then we'll think about it.
Mm-hmm. All right. We're at a good place. You want to take a break?
Sure.
All right. We'll be right back. All right. We are back from the infamous DC on-screen piss break. Look, y'all, you can piss while you're listening to the show. We can't piss while we're talking.
Cord's not that long, and I can't hit the mute button fast enough.
Let's talk about Peacemaker 2, man. Gunn says that he is over halfway. The second season is over halfway written. And someone says...
Which is way slower than the first one for him. But
yeah.
But there wasn't a pandemic, to be fair.
Yeah, and also he was doing Legacy, and he's been busy. Yeah. He's a busy guy.
Yeah. It's a very different environment.
Someone asked, won't it be confusing having a season 2 of a different universe? Why not just have it be a new show? James Gunn says, because it's my favorite thing to do. It's the biggest original Mac show ever, and I have a way in. It won't be confusing. Someone else says, is season 2 going to be totally...
Like, no, I've got a way to make this make sense. Fuck off. Okay.
Yeah. Is season 2 going to be totally different than season 1 because of the reboot? Or is it only going to have slight changes? Gunn says, you'll have to wait and see how that works out.
Mm-hmm.
Are we really getting a new opening for Peacemaker season 2? Gunn says, yes. They say, will it have a title card relating to the new DCU? Gunn says, yes. Which it makes sense because the first opening was so deeply tied thematically to that season.
I mean, it was like you can.
Hell, half the people dancing aren't even there anymore.
Yes, I mean it. You couldn't just play the thing again. But I'm the most interesting question to me. Tell me if this was asked. Will it be the same music?
Ooh, that's an interesting question.
Like
I haven't seen that.
Most of the time, all shows keep their music, even if you redesign a little. So
yeah,
but that was so specifically choreographed by I think it was Jason Lee's wife. I forget her name.
Oh, God. I don't even think I even ever heard that.
I think I heard that somewhere.
Okay. All right.
I'm sure enough that I'm willing to leave that unlooked up and just hope I'm right. Like, there's a weird category of this new age where that's a thing. But, yeah, it was, like you said, it was deeply designed for exactly that. So, yeah, I would be curious. I wouldn't mind hearing that song again. I even liked it.
I love that song.
And it is deeply against most of my tastes.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And but every time I was at your house, you were playing it. And I was like, okay.
We're doing this, I guess.
Yeah.
It was like a weird anti-hair metal area where it should be that. I mean, in all fairness, though, it wasn't like it was. I don't think that was actually a song recorded in the 80s.
I thought it was, but...
Well, now I got to look that up.
I know. I'm already looking it up. I was certain. But... Really? Did it come out in 2010?
Think so.
That's crazy. How is that true?
I think it just sounded like one of those hair metal revivals like Buck Cherry back in our TRL kind of days.
All right. That's fine. I don't care when it came out. It doesn't bother me either way. I like the song.
It fit the vibe for sure.
All right, let's talk about David Ayer's Suicide Squad. Hopefully for the last time.
For him too, I guess. From your teaser.
God. Yeah. Well, on December 17th, he posted another picture of Leto, and says, Joker is formidable, intense, and a force of nature in my cut. Not unfocused and silly. In my cut, he has a story arc that hangs powerfully over the entire film. In the studio cut, he's a prop, not a character. Then we flash forward to January 3rd, and fans are arguing over whether or not David Ayer wants to return to WB, and Ayer responded, I'm done with DC. And then someone else asked if he meant he really wasn't going to fight for the release of the extended version of Suicide Squad. Ayer said, nope, done and done. Very sad. You'll be fine after a good cry. I feel healthier. It's a wound that needs to heal.
Yeah, that sounds right to me. I don't think that thing's coming out.
And he said, nothing about the situation feels good. Studio has no interest in releasing it. It's time to run and not look back. And then someone else accused him of flip-flopping on whether or not he wanted the extended cut released. And he says, I've been saying this for years. "Nah, I'm good. Don't need to be walking around with a begging bowl. Gonna protect my heart more moving forward." One fan said the final product of Suicide Squad felt like an inside job, and Ayer said, "I got sniped on that one, JFK style." Look, I don't have any issue with David Ayer wanting his cut released. I want to see his cut, but he does flip flop, and I don't know. I don't know if he's announced this. I don't know. He seems a bit bipolar because like he gets very, very, very one way. Like, yes, I'm going to do this. And then like he flips and then all of a sudden he's like all out and he's mad.
I haven't followed it close enough to see
he does kind of, yeah. So I don't know. I give it a few weeks and he'll be saying something else. I don't know. I don't know what like, and a lot of people are saying like, look, Gunn lied about it because he said that he was going to release it. Yeah, he just said that the time for it to be seen would come. But even Ayer has said that they weren't going to release it before Gunn was able to get some grounding on his universe. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It feels like
there's like a series of factors that are different from when I was saying that we wouldn't see Snyder that are just very much more sure this time.
Well,
like there's not going to be an HBO Max that comes out that changes the situation so drastically that Ayer is going to be on the table again.
Yeah, and look, I don't know.
And there wasn't a reboot at the time, for God's sake. I mean,
right. And part of the reason Snyder's League came out was because of COVID.
Yeah.
As well. So they desperately needed
now in that sense, material. It's not like the numbers bounce back as I keep bitching about before. So in that sense, maybe that has, I don't know, maybe that has a limited effect on it, not streaming just to recoup the numbers, I guess. But
yeah,
it is still different.
Also, like the first Suicide Squad did numbers, dude. Like the theatrical version of Suicide Squad made like, what was it, like 900 million? It was something crazy like that. 800, 900 million?
I had it like 850. It was right, 8-9. It was not at all a flop.
No.
And I've turned that one on a couple times, like even in the last year or so. I've just like decided, I want to watch that scene. Usually it's the scene where Will Smith says, "Oh, y'all got to be crazy." And like, it's a really fun scene, dude.
Yeah.
And like sometimes I'll just turn that on and then accidentally watch the rest of it. Or I'll turn that on and be like, I'm just going to go back. I'm just going to go back and turn that back on.
Yeah. It's not a great movie, but at the same time, it's fun.
It really is fun. I mean, you can see it more.
It's an enjoyable watch.
The more Ayer says about it, you see the holes where he wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
It hangs together as a movie. I mean, it's not like the second half is just, a complete nightmare. But I mean, it's there. It holds the line, but like it's not as good as I think it would be if we had kept his version, probably.
Yeah,
on pure spec.
Yeah, and I'm not in any way coming out against David Ayer. Like I like the dude as far as being a filmmaker. He does seem to flip flop a bit over the years. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what he's dealing with these people. I don't know anything. They keep it so quiet, except for like the little cryptic bits that we get. This person said to David,
we just kind of get these like reactions from them.
Yeah, this guy says, "Crazy that the same guy who said he supported you getting this is the guy running DC Studios, the same guy who said that they are autonomous from Warner Brothers proper. We all knew it was performative, so Squad fans would not pounce on him prior to the Suicide Squad." And David Ayer responded, "No one is autonomous in Hollywood. A large film will be presented to a green light committee and the CEO and the corporate board. There are many presentations and sign-offs." Yes, but also you don't know his contract.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I feel like David Ayer is just kind of being a bit of a brat at the moment.
I don't know.
And I'm not sure.
Kind of factual. I mean, not that it was even trying to not take Gunn out of the equation here. Just that's not anything that would have been attached to what Gunn has any say over.
Yeah, like
the release of the Ayer cut isn't in his purview in any capacity. I
right.
presume.
he was just saying, like, we just read that Gunn was, talking about, like, they don't have any control over what happened before. Like, they're not really involved in what happened before so much. So,
just seems weird to be emotional about Gunn and his relationship to that cut in a lot of ways. I mean,
well, everyone wants to blame James Gunn for everything. Is the problem.
I know, but we have to remember a lot of the before times where like Gunn and
the before
Ayer, a lot of Gunn and Ayer being very supportive of each other's cuts of the movie. I mean, there's been, it seems weird to interpret it that way solidly.
Mm-hmm.
They have been very supportive of each other.
It sounds like,
much as Snyder has been back and forth with the rest of them.
Yeah, it sounds like to me, and I might be wrong, and I'm not trying to shit on anybody, but it sounds like right now Ayer is acting out a bit because somebody wound up telling him it was going to be a really long time or never before they released the Ayer cut.
Maybe.
And, I mean, there was a something push broke down
though, and there was a push recently though to get that involved.
Yeah,
I don't know. It trended for a second. He's probably just having feelings about it. I would.
Yeah, it sounds like because he was pushing pretty hard for a while, very recently, and including up till December 17th.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it didn't get enough traction or as much traction as he wanted it to, or maybe like they didn't care about the traction that it did get. I don't know, but
you think some rep somewhere kind of hyped him up?
It sounds like there was a negotiation or a conversation, and it didn't go the way he wanted it or as fast as he wanted it, and now he's like, I'm not pushing for it anymore. And that's the way that's the way it feels.
I mean, maybe, but
I don't know. That's the way it feels to me.
It could, but I don't think I'd be any less frustrated after this many rounds of that up and down.
Yeah. No, I mean, I want to see it.
I want to see it, and I'd be pissed too if I were him.
Yeah, me too.
I like for his sake, I actually do hope he steps away from anything related to this company.
Yeah,
unless they actually give him something cathartic to deal with.
The other thing, though, is from a business standpoint, from the standpoint of trying to like build something out, they stand to gain really nothing from releasing it.
Yeah, I know.
Because if it does numbers on HBO Max or wherever they decided to release it,
then they got to play with all that.
They've got to have knowledge of what the numbers are and think about what that means. Then they've got to turn around and try to be like, no, we didn't cave. No, you're not getting the Snyderverse. That you're just going to get all these people more upset while Gunn is doing something completely different. It introduces more confusion to the general audience. It is not worth it.
Not at all. They would
not at this moment.
Borderline fantastic, ridiculous version of events. You send an NDA to everyone who might possibly want to watch the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And say, you have to agree to watch the next movie if I send you this, and shut the fuck up about what you see. But you can have it.
Even with NDAs, that's not going to work.
I know. They'll still fuck it up.
All right, we got a little more info on the inner workings of the of the DC studios here. Someone asked Gunn, what does Peter do while you're off writing and directing away? And Gunn says he runs everything. This person says, considering Peter Safran's emphasis on the administrative side of DC Studios and your focus on the creative side, how often do your workloads coincide? Gunn says, our workloads? Not often, but we talk every day. This person says, I can't imagine that you have the time to read dozens and dozens of scripts from every single writer that you could consider for a project, so how is it that you were able to scout for talent? Do you have, as a studio head, the same way a director has a casting director, someone that brings you a certain amount of scripts from a certain amount of people and select from there? Gunn says, yes, that's what our DC studio team does. This person says, what do you see in Tom King? People hate his guts. Gunn says, he's an amazing writer and a nice guy. He's written at least 4 of the best runs over the last few years. Mr. Miracle, Strange, Woman of Tomorrow, and Human Target. The problem with being successful in the internet age, and he's one of the most successful current comic book writers by any metric, is that there will always be a group of people who hate your guts. Do you and Jim Lee ever have to talk about using specific characters between the movies and the comics? And Gunn says, yes, Jim Lee and us are in constant communication, mostly Peter, to be honest, as I'm usually off working on something creatively.
Of course.
You sounded like you were about to say something.
Oh, Tom King just cracks me up. Like, the only reason that many people hate him is because they don't understand that process. He does very ambitious things. They probably didn't read it. Like, he's just got his head above the clouds enough for the other people to notice they fucked with a character.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time he fucks with characters that no one knows about. It's just the ignorance of hating Tom King is, I don't know. I would not understand that.
Yeah. I think I wasn't a huge fan of his Batman run at the very beginning, but I never finished it. But I did love Mr. Miracle, and I've loved Woman of Tomorrow and everything else I've read by him. So I'm inclined to go back and read his Batman run, but I also think that some of my issues with what I was reading in this Batman run was it was possibly too close to some of the stuff Scott Snyder was doing in his run of Batman, and I was just kind of tired of that.
No, yeah, that fits timing though, but that was a bit of a transition. Because, I think there are several scenes I can think of even that if you just swapped them, I wouldn't know who wrote them. Mm-hmm. But, like, where he took a lot of stories, especially when he got him his own IPs to deal with, was just a very, very different thing.
Yeah. I'm so excited. I got, like, a hardback copy of his Rorschach book.
I was worried when he said hard, but yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Well, I got hard, but I got a copy of that for it was like $7 at Ollie's.
No, it's so much fun, dude.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading that one. Anyway,
it really is better to read all at once. I promise.
Yeah,
because that was one of the ones that. So King and Garrett's. I've never known if that's supposed to be Garrett's or Jared's. I should look that up sometime. But those two,
but not now.
Yeah. Those two have put out some stuff, but I think Rorschach was one of the ones that was delayed by a month. I think even more at some point. It was delayed a few times just from various production problems. But I always liked that they didn't actually they didn't put it out. They didn't just put it out anyway. They actually delayed it and put out the version they wanted to put out. I liked that choice.
Yeah. I'm very, very intrigued. I really want to see it. Someone asks, I'm kind of curious for things like Matt's DCU Arkham show. Do you have any sort of mandate or embargo against using certain characters? I will clarify this question by saying I don't mean they would appear, but if Matt and the Arkham team really wanted to use Harley, Batman, Joker, Riddler, or any other A-list character because it serves their story, do they have that freedom? In previous administrations, they didn't. And Gunn says, Peter and I are the curators of DC characters. That means any characters writers want to use in media of any type that's not comic books and a couple of other things, I believe podcasts, DCU or not, has to go through us.
So,
and I don't think you and I talked about this,
so
but
we can't just throw away our scripts? Or?
I know. Did you see that that Matt Reeves is actually working on the Arkham show is going to be DCU? It's not going to be in the Batman universe. Matt Reeves is still developing it, but it's going to be for DCU.
No, I didn't. So they just repurposed that entirely?
Yeah, they liked it and they bought it for DCU.
Cool.
And Gunn even said that Matt Reeves was going to be working on things for DCU as well as his Batman universe.
I like that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. So there are recent Green Lantern rumors.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said they're saying Jon Stewart is going to be in his early 20s in the DCU. Is this true? James Gunn says, guys, if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Everything out there is bullshit unless it comes from me. People don't even know the writer on the show. How do they think they know the age of the character? Someone said, when can we expect a rumor that's true? Gunn says, when it comes from me and not from some other source. Was John Logan ever attached to Batman Brave and the Bold? Gunn says he was not.
This does feel very, very straightforward. again?
Yeah.
Well,
Mr. Gunn,
how do we know about your source? I got your source. I got your source drunk. All right, at least we could have that. But, like, no.
Mr. Gunn, do you like the question? He says very much. Fingers crossed, man. Let's get some question up in here. Do the new animated Crisis on Infinite Earths movies have anything to do with the start of the DCU, or is it just some convenient timing? He says they do not. By the way, it's not convenient timing. They just shut down the Tomorrowverse because they knew this was all coming.
Mm-hmm.
It's not convenient timing. It just doesn't have anything to do with anything.
Yeah. It's inconvenient timing in certain ways.
Yeah. Christopher Nolan was doing an interview with The Atlantic. Says there's no superhero science fiction film coming out these days where I don't see some influence of Zack Snyder. When you watch a Zack Snyder film, you see and feel his love for the potential of cinema. The potential of it to be fantastical, to be heightened in its reality, but to move you and to excite you. It's so funny watching people with their biases. Like they're like, oh yes, Christopher Nolan once again. Look, he's building up Zack Snyder, talking about how they're friends and oh, he loves all this stuff. James Gunn says something about Zack Snyder. You're not really friends.
Yeah,
you're just bullshitting us. But I don't know. That's all I thought of when I saw that. I just, I
know.
Okay.
There's so much human error in that kind of process. Like it made sense over here, but not over here. It's a real problem in a lot of these interpretations. But
yeah,
man, I mean, I get it though. I see Nolan's point.
Yeah.
Going further, I see the same thing in Snyder interpreting Nolan having come before there.
Yeah.
Like,
did you see that Netflix made Zack Snyder an avatar you can actually use for your profile on Netflix?
I did not.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Is it a little vest?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I didn't really pay attention to it. I just saw his face and I was like, oh, okay, that's what's happening. But, yeah, and then a lot of people are mad, like, oh, should have been Nolan.
That looks great on him.
Yeah.
Someone gave him great advice when they did that.
Dude, okay, look. Zach's just hot. Like, he looks great in everything. Like, I've seen that dude in, like, a ratty white t-shirt, and I was questioning things. Okay, so...
It's an attractive dude. What do you want to do?
But yeah, I saw a lot of people be like, it shouldn't have been Snyder. It should have been Nolan first. Well, Nolan doesn't have an exclusive deal with Netflix and a movie coming out right now.
Yeah.
Like, you have to understand. There are reasons for things. And while everyone's mad that HBO Max is getting rid of all these DC movies, this is how they're making money. According to Variety, the list of films heading to Tubi in 2024 includes The Batman, Suicide Squad, Black Adam, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Birds of Prey, and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman 1984, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Superman the Movie, Superman 2, Batwoman, Gotham, and Krypton, Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. I mean, that one already started in December 31st, but
yeah.
That's how they're making money. Tubi is a free platform that plays the shit out of ads. They have ads. They bought the licensing rights to the movies. That is money in Warner Brothers' pocket. Sorry, the streaming wars didn't happen like we thought they would. Turns out they need to make money.
They just do?
Yep.
Don't know how much better I can explain that.
Yeah. Gunn says a unique DC Elseworlds logo will be made.
Cool.
He says DCU and Elseworlds are all within DC Studios and under me and Peter, but the stories simply aren't interconnected. This person says, what are the chances DC Studios gets a new open logo sequence? The current one has been around for a bit, and with such a momentous shift at the studio, a new and maybe simplified logo sequence would be a really cool way to mark the start of the new continuity. Gunn says it will change with the DCU. And then they said, will the Elseworlds logo be different from the main continuity logo? He says that is the plan, yes. So
that long logo, is that the one with all the silhouettes at the end?
Yeah.
I still hear that with the dump from Titans. Or like, I think it's going to be. I don't know if I'll ever actually replace that.
Yeah.
I don't think that was the first one I ever saw that with. It's just the one that like played with it the most often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You've just seen it so many times.
Yeah. With that overlaid.
So here's an interesting thing. On Threads, Gunn said that he's very excited about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, the game.
Mm-hmm.
And he hopes there will be more titles set in the universe in that universe moving forward. And he also said there were no plans of Suicide Squad being the last game within the Arkhamverse. And then he deleted that statement. Who knows what the hell that means?
I saw a sidebar somewhere I didn't get to look at, but there was the suggestion that one of the projectiles that Boomerang will be using in that game is not a boomerang.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I didn't look into this. That could be complete crap. I don't know. But on the one hand, I thought, oh God, yeah, Boomerang's got to be a lot harder to like plan for in the programming, right? Like that's got to be a little more fucked up than just like a projectile. Yeah. Same time, I get it. That's his name.
Well, he's also the teleporting Boomerang. Captain Boomerang.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just smacks you with it, probably.
Yeah.
Back of the head.
With his dick.
Yeah.
With his dick.
Which is curved. Makes sense. Sharp 45 in the middle.
Oh yeah, I thought I somehow left this out, or we talked about it, or I talked about it with Effie, but Gunn did confirm. Right now, Matt Reeves is producing Arkham as a DCU series, and there's just the two for now. Mm-hmm. We love Matt as a director and producer, so he'll be producing stories both within the Batman universe and within the DCU. So there's that. George Clooney says, not enough drugs in the world. He says, I don't think there are enough drugs in the world for me to go back again to play Batman.
Yeah.
He says, I thought there was such a clamor for me to come back as Batman, as you know. There was a clamor. I actually said, where are my rubber nipples? And they were like, can we do this without the rubber nipples? And I was like, well, it's not really my Batman, is it?
It's a fine point.
Peter Safran.
I would have deeply preferred he had nipples showing out of the shirt he showed up in.
Oh, God. That would have been weird.
It's a thin sheer fabric, right?
Yeah.
You can make it darkly colored.
Sure. His multiple layers of clothing. He would just have nipples.
Yeah. I've put on, suggested shirts and outfits for, say, a wedding or something and said, oh, fuck no, are you kidding me?
Uh-huh.
This shit exists. That's all I'm saying.
Silver dollars, man. Silver dollars.
Yeah.
Peter Safran, just talking to The Independent. He says, about Momoa. He says, what I hope is that people will really be here to support him on his journey. If it's the end of the journey, fine. If it goes on, that's also fine. His journey's Aquaman, by the way. But I think it has meant so much to him.
Not Jack Frost or whatever the fuck.
Not dying. He's not passing away. He says, the way James crafted this second film, it feels like a very complete story when you watch the two films together. We'll see what happens with him beyond it. I know that Jason will always have a home at DC and at Warner Brothers. In fact, his next movie is Minecraft. That worked out perfectly with your mention of Jack Frost.
Oh, of course it is. The way he looks, why would it not be Animal Crossing?
Well, I mean, look, I've always said Jason Momoa seems like a bit of a blockhead.
Sure. And I'm sure if it was a day of me and him, like, doing brick and mortar work, he'd outwork the fuck out of me. But, like, I don't know. Minecraft wasn't what I was picturing.
No. In a recent post on Threads, Gunn outlined a bit more about Tom King's role in the DCU, hinted that he is unopposed to adapting more of his comic book work.
I am deeply unopposed as well.
Yeah, Tom is an integral part of the DCU, not just Woman of Tomorrow. He's one of the first people I showed the Superman script asking for notes. He's included in various ways in numerous other projects, including Woman of Tomorrow. So, I have no notes. I have no problems. I like Tom King.
Yeah. Current writer for me is about a year behind, but you asked me about a year or two ago. Tom Taylor, Tom King are favorites at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Grandpa. I have more, but still, they were top two. Tinian. God, Tinian.
Someone asked if Streaky was going to be involved.
Mm-hmm.
Streaky the super cat. James said, if my cat had superpowers, I'd be the only human alive. Not in the near future, no. So, no Streaky.
That actually is a good point. If there was a super, like an overpowered cat, we would just have been exterminated in a fit one day.
Possibly. But every cat I've ever known has really, You
just pet it on the stomach too long and then we're all dead.
Well, yes, but then they also very much relish their human slaves.
Yeah. You'd have to be there to open that can. But if they figured out that they could open the can. OP cat equals dead us.
Yeah. So, Patty Jenkins says, I love that you and others are thinking of it as a Christmas movie, talking about Wonder Woman 1984. It was to us, and I hope it brings joy in another dark year for those that watch it. It was Christmas for exactly a minute and a half in that movie, roughly. Like, the rest of it was all in the summertime. I don't know what the hell she's on about. I know it came out around Christmas.
I think it came out on like Christmas Eve or something. No, it might have been actually Christmas.
But it's not a Christmas film. I don't care that it's snowing at the end and there's Christmas stuff. Like
I forgot that was even a thing, but
yeah.
But damn, what was that release date? Because it was.
It was like December 22nd or 21st.
No, it was actually fucking Christmas.
Was it?
Yep.
That's so stupid.
I remember thinking that was as stupid as you just said.
Oh, man. Margot Robbie weighing in on Harley Quinn's future with Joker 2 and James Gunn's DCU. She says, I always wanted Harley to be a character that would get passed on to other actresses to play. The way there are so many iconic male characters, that was always the dream for her. She's talking about Lady Gaga playing Harley in the Joker sequel. She's not saying she's not doing anything else. Gunn responded and says to people asking about it, says, I haven't talked to Margot about Harley for a long time, but I'd love to work with her again as Harley or as someone else. There are no plans at this time for anyone else to play Harley. I mean, other than in Todd's movie or the animated shows. And then someone says, well, to be honest, that's sad you didn't plan anything for Harley Quinn in your DCU yet. Jim Lee describes her as one of the 4 pillars of DC, along with Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. Gunn says, that's not exactly what I said.
Yeah.
Here's a little window into how Gunn sees films today. This person says, I do not understand how studios greenlight tentpole movies with half-baked scripts like they honestly think they can work out that third act in post. Seems extremely wasteful, and if they don't figure it out, it threatens to tank the whole film. Gunn says it is sadly a large percentage of films these days, and I believe the primary reason for the lower quality of films.
Yeah. Don't disagree with anything I just heard.
Yeah. This person says, what do you think is better, expensive comic book movies with really good CGI or cheaper comic book movies who use, for the most part, practical effects? Gunn says practical effects are often more expensive than visual effects.
At this point, yes.
Get them.
Like, at this point, yes. There was a transition period where that was not the case, but come on.
Yeah.
It's the other side now.
Yeah. So I have a feeling I know how you're going to feel about this.
Oh.
So Ed Brubaker, who's a writer on Batman Caped Crusader, for the upcoming show that has 2 seasons ordered at Amazon, says, I'll warn you guys, it's definitely a lot different than Batman the Animated Series. It's very much a reconception of starting over. It's not PG-13, but it's a lot different. It's sort of like the show Bruce Timm always wanted to make, but that they wouldn't let him make. There's a lot more, people actually getting punched on camera, and I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but everyone will kill me if I say it, but it's kind of noir. It's definitely a different take that I hope people will love, but I think people will also be shocked by some things. So it sounds like it's not...
How many people are fucking, Dave?
What?
How many people are fucking?
It's like, how many, like, look, man.
Let's just cut to the chase.
I'm kind of like, at this point, I'm like, let's do it. Let's see what you really got. Let's make a hard R Batman series from Bruce Timm and just watch it unfold. Just watch the big cartoon titties
You played
sway.
with Batman and Harley Quinn. You
watch
got
every
close.
Like let's see like Batman pull down Harley Quinn's spandex and complain about the smell. Let's do all the things Bruce Timm apparently wants to do. Just so we can be done once and for all.
And get it over with. I get it.
I don't think that's what this will be because it sounds like they can't even really push it to PG-13.
That sounds like they're kind of warning people.
Yeah.
That this kind of became... It's almost like somebody saw the storyboards and realized they couldn't like crawl that back and went, we should warn people.
Well...
We'll just put it with the marketing team to put something out beforehand because that's not going to be a kid thing.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they're going that way because they're like, it'll be PG, but we're not going to push it to PG-13. Okay. I don't know how to feel about this.
Yeah.
But whatever. I guess we'll see what happens. And I'm interested anyway. I feel like what he was warning us about, though, was like that it was like more noir than Batman animated series. Like,
oh, yeah. I mean,
I don't think it was necessarily
sure
that. Like,
it's just
it was going to be R-rated.
I'm sure that's the end goal. It's Bruce Timm, and that's where everything goes these days with him. So,
yeah. Well, that's it, man. That's all I've got.
Oh, shit.
That's it. We blew through it. We got there.
It's at least an hour and a half short.
I know. First episode of the new year.
We were going to make this like a part 3, so we just had, a couple months off. But all right, if you just want to put it out as one, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm good. Hey, patreon.com/DC on screen. You can join the community for free, and $1 a month gets you that, plus every episode ad free, and then $5 a month gets you all that, plus whatever random thing we decide to put out. And I've started posting stuff, from social media, so you don't have to follow us on Twitter or X or Threads. There's so many these days. Just go and hang out at the Patreon for free, and you'll see what we're posting. Sound good?
Was I supposed to respond for me or them?
No one was supposed to respond.
Just us in general.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be supportive, man.
I understand.
Love you.
Love you too, buddy. I'm glad to have you back.
Hey.
And, next week when Effie fills in for you again, I'll be sad. But
we had a weird, dark, fever-filled time.
Stop getting sick, you
I think all is well.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it's been rough. I want daycare to end.
Thank you so much for listening,
the heart of all
everyone.
fevers.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. All right. I'm out. Until next time, keep some DC on your screen. Bye. Hey, thanks for listening to DC on Screen. Our theme song is by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford of Galactic Engineers. The incidental music is by Michael Shackelford and Kevin MacLeod. You can rate the show on Spotify or rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. Doing that really helps push our show to new listeners, so your help would be much appreciated. You can also contact the show at DC On Screen on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or email us at dconscreen@gmail.com. To become a patron and get ad-free episodes and exclusive content, go to patreon.com/DCOnScreen. Your reviews and feedback may end up on a future episode of DC On Screen. DC On Screen is a production of Maladjusted.tv in association with Stranded Panda. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever damn platform you use.